love being able to go to the different high school, colleges, middle schools to live broadcast sporting events around the area. Georgia Alabama Sports Live appreciates all the fan support, but without a presenting sponsor like Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC in Opelika, none of this would be possible. So we want to say thank you so much. Go to glennsmith.com. That is right, glennsmith.com. See all the inventory and see why people always say, get ready to smile. Thanks, everyone, and thank you to Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC for being our presenting sponsor. Today's broadcast is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC in Opelika. Go to glennsmith.com for more information. Get ready to smile. Hey folks, Thrift Behringer here from Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And I want you to join us this Saturday, March 23rd at 12 p.m. to watch us do our show live from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll be talking everything from our top 10 high school baseball teams in our region, our picks for March Madness, our expectations for the upcoming MLB season, and so much more. If you want to know the latest on what's happening around you, then make sure you watch us live this Saturday from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll see you all then. We love being able to go to the different high school, colleges, middle schools to live broadcast sporting events around the area. Georgia Alabama Sports Live appreciates all the fan support, but without a presenting sponsor like Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC in Opelika, none of this would be possible. So we want to say thank you so much. Go to glennsmith.com. That is right, glennsmith.com. See all the inventory and see why people always say, get ready to smile. Thanks, everyone, and thank you to Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC for being our presenting sponsor.
It's truck season at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado LTZ, discounted up to $11,000 off, or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV, the Chevy Traverse, discounted up to $7,750 off, and the perfect size Chevy Equinox up to $7,750 off. No payments until summertime. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Hey folks, Thrift Behringer here from Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And I want you to join us this Saturday, March 23rd at 12 p.m. to watch us do our show live from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll be talking everything from our top 10 high school baseball teams in our region, our picks for March Madness, our expectations for the upcoming MLB season, and so much more. If you want to know the latest on what's happening around you, then make sure you watch us live this Saturday from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll see you all then. Evening, everyone. We're going to try this all over again. It's Thrift Behringer, it's Richard Holdridge, it's Georgia, it's Alabama, it's Sports Live show right here on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. Got an incredible lineup for you today, and many of you, if you're watching the video on Facebook, you see the topic list. If you don't, you're watching on YouTube, it's okay, because I'm going to give you the topic list here in just a moment. Thrift Behringer, Richard Holdridge, thank y'all so much for joining us. And thank you for Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC in Opelika for being the presenting sponsor. And with that said, I guess we'll start there. This Saturday, Richard, we will be in Opelika at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 11 o'clock Central Time, for a live broadcast in the Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC showroom, Richard, where we will be able to do our show, have several guests on. Looking forward to it. I've communicated with a few people, maybe a Rex Castillo, maybe a Rick Beach, maybe a Tom Callahan, maybe a Lee Snow and Damian Daniels from the Lions. I'm trying to work my magic. Either way, it's going to be a fantastic show. We're looking forward to being there. The weather should be clearing up in the afternoon on Saturday. I know it's supposed to rain Friday, but on Saturday should be clearing up. Excited to do another live show, and this time at the Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC showroom, Richard.
I'm excited about doing that show with you, Thrift. It's going to be exciting because this is really a very big week in sports, and not only for March Madness, college basketball for the men and women, but also high school baseball is really in full effect right now, in full swing, and there's just a lot going on.
As you can see here, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If you want to come by, please do. I'm going to see if Jerry can help me up with some stuff to give away so that will entice more people to come up there. We're going to basically get your weekend started as the first, I guess technically this is going to be the second round, and then the third round is what the second round used to be, because the first four are and Dayton is considered the first round. So we'll get your third round started on Saturday. I know the first game's like 12:21, 12:30 around there usually. So watch us. We'll bring you in, and we got a lot in store for you. So make sure to come out to Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC for the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show in person, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 11 Central. Okay, so I told you, a lot on the docket. First, the topic is we're going to start with our high school baseball ratings. And looking forward to doing that. And we got a little bit of a shake-up from last week's ratings, Richard, so glad we're going to be dropping that. After we did the show and we dropped the ratings, I then went on to say, how could we ever put anyone other than Central not number one the way they're playing? So obviously, no surprise there. You're going to see that in just a moment, but not yet, Chris. Then after that, we are going to do an exclusive interview. I'm going to sit down with Athletic Director Corey Black of Pacelli. He is, and the head basketball coach. He is stepping down, and he is moving on to a good opportunity with Emmanuel Prep to be the Dean of Scholars there. So we'll have a sit-down exclusive interview with Coach Corey Black on why he's making this move. And then when we come back after that, me and Richard will go into a deep dive breakdown of the bracket, our Final Four, top players to watch, top 5 teams that can win it all. It's a top five. It's a high five of top fives. How about that? So many fives, I'm getting lost. And then we're going to give the toughest quadrant, and of course our Final Four. So looking forward, and our eventual national champion, we'll give that as well. That will wrap up today's show, and then on Saturday, like I said, we'll continue our college basketball, talking some baseball, talking Lions and River Dragons, both of them. River Dragons, they've been in season. They're actually getting ready for the playoffs here soon. And the Lions just had their first win on Sunday. Congratulations to Damian Daniels in his first game, getting a big-time win in Amarillo, Texas, as they won 47, I think, to 26. Yes. Big-time win for Damian Daniels, the Nighthawk, in his first season as a coach. I saw Bruce Figgins, who's the new coach at Chattahoochee County. He is also on staff, and and the Lions got a big-time win. They start the season 1-0.
Yes, congratulations to Coach Damian Daniels and his staff. Marcus Brook looked fantastic. I know Amarillo took that opening kickoff for the touchdown, 8-0 out the gate, but the Lions responded, and it's really their defense. It starts with Ken Washington, and you also have Darrell Green, just an outstanding core. You got to remember, the Lions have NAL players that chose to come back. Yes, it is a lower-tier league. I mean, they won the championship in the American Indoor Football Alliance League. They're now back in the American Indoor Football League. They left in 2016, but the Amarillo Venom is a very formidable opponent, and they're going to have a bye. They're taking on the Mississippi Raiders, and then the home opener, April the 12th, against the Amarillo Venom again.
So April the 12th, I'll be there broadcasting. Looking forward to that. We'll have more breakdown of the Columbus Lions heading into another season with someone from the Lions. I don't know if it could be Damian Daniels, Lee Snow, Casey Smith. It's going to be somebody. Maybe even Marcus Brooks.
Might be a player.
I'm gonna try to work my magic, and like I said, Columbus River Dragons, Richard, are still in first place.
They have the best record of the Federal Prospects.
And I think that they should win it all this year.
Absolutely.
And every time, I know Tom Callahan's hosting trivia night tonight. I'm hoping that we can get him on to talk River Dragons,
Absolutely.
even if it means doing a virtual maybe interview. We can try to make it happen if we can, but. Looking forward to that, and the Lions and River Dragons representing the Columbus City well. And everybody wants to say you got to go to Atlanta to see a professional team. No, you don't. They're right here in this area.
Absolutely.
Support local, and the River Dragons do a fantastic job. And I'm looking forward to being a part of the Columbus Lions this season as they start 1-0, big time win for Damian Daniels. Marcus Brooks, that you talked about, he was sensational last year. He's just leading off to where he just starting where he left off last year. And dominating again, just like they did a whole 8 games when they won a championship in 2023.
Well, when you have like veteran players like Jarmon Fortson, who wants to stay in Columbus. This was a player that played on the championship team at Carver. He goes on to play wide receiver at Florida State, and he's playing for Columbus. Jarmon Fortson is the ultimate veteran, and he's got a great receiver, and he's just got a great team. And Marcus Brooks looked fantastic in that game. Demisio Ewing caught the first touchdown pass, and Columbus never looked back. I mean, they went up 21-8. Amarillo cut it to 21-14, and then the defense just took over. I mean, when you play that tough, and remember, Damian Daniels knows defense.
He does.
I mean, he probably the greatest corner in Lions history. His number is
maybe
retired.
in arena football history.
Probably, in arena football history.
One of the top, at least top 10 of all time. It don't matter what league it's been in. I definitely would have the Nighthawk in there. So
absolutely.
Can't wait to talk more Lions as they got a big win. And then River Dragons, I think they got a home series this upcoming weekend.
It's a big series because they face a former general manager that's coming to the Civic Center. He happens to be the general manager of the Motor City Rockers.
Who's that?
Scott Brand.
How about that?
Coming
Scott
back to
Brand
Columbus.
Coming to Columbus should be a lot of fun. Guy that, just did a fantastic job starting
Absolutely.
the River Dragons, being the president, GM. I mean, just a de facto guy that really made the engine go. Moved on, going to get closer to home, and looking forward to seeing them play as the River Dragons. When we talk with Tom, he talks about how talented this team is. It may be the most talented River Dragons team we've had since their tenure started back in 2019, 2020. There is one championship the River Dragons have, but this year I honestly think this has been the best opportunity to win it all since that 2020, 2021 year when it was a shortened season.
Well, when you have a player that played in the SPHL in Justin McDonald, he played for the Knoxville Ice Bears, comes down and plays in the Federal Prospects Hockey League. Obviously, this is a very special player. He's got 60 goals. He's got 30 goals, 60 assists. He's got about 90 points. He's leading the FPHL in points, and he is the front runner for the most valuable player in the FPHL.
How about that? That should be.
Absolutely.
And he talked about him. I mean, he's been sensational since the beginning, and he knew as soon as he put on the skates and started skating around here at the Columbus Civic Center that guy was special.
Absolutely.
So big weekend this weekend for them. The Lions, their first home game's April the 12th. Make sure you go and tune in for that. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Our high school baseball ratings. And how we do our ratings is off of talent, strength of schedule, chances to win the championship in your league. The same way we did for basketball and football, we're going to do for baseball. So, Chris, you have that graphic thrown up? Okay, so with that graphic thrown up, let's start at number 10, the Shaw Raiders. 3-8, got a big win over Hardaway. They won 20-1. They are playing them again tomorrow. Richard, you may be doing that game. I don't know yet for sure. The only way we plan on trying to be there. We thought it was going to be Friday. Got rained out. Richard plans on being there. It's at Hardaway.
It's at Shaw, actually.
It's at Shaw, excuse me.
Yes.
So they moved it to Shaw. Wow.
Well,
it was at Hardaway with Freaky Fries, and now they changed it.
So they played Hardaway at Hardaway on Tuesday. So basically,
And I think they played 2 out of 3 because they're in the same region.
Exactly.
Shaw coming in at number 10, 3-8, slow start, tough schedule. And now as they get into region play, still a very winnable region. Bainbridge is really good.
Bainbridge is the best
Elite.
team in the region.
Elite. One of the top teams in the state, but Shaw has a very good chance of making the playoffs this year. They come in at 3-8. I think the surprise team of, I would say number 2, because I think the number 1 surprise team is a little bit up in our ratings. But a good surprise team is the Jordan Red Jackets at 5-7. Richard, you've been high on them all season.
Coach Lane is doing a phenomenal job with the Jordan Red Jackets. By the way, they did lose to Rutland 11-7. It was a very close game. It was on the road. Rutland is undefeated. They're one of the top teams in 2A. They're going to play Rutland 2 more times this week. But I think that what Coach Lane is doing at Jordan, they're very formidable. They made the playoffs last year. And they've got a young team, but they've got a good team that can compete.
And I do also want to say there's a couple announcements that happened, by the way. I don't know if I want to do it now in the middle of our ratings or should I wait afterward. You know what? I'll wait. There were a couple hirings that happened at Shaw with the girls basketball program.
Yes.
And then Harris County and Northside have new softball coaches. So we'll talk about that and maybe even have another exclusive interview with one of those coaches that's making a move. By the way, Marcus Brooks is now tuning in. With Marcus, you missed us as we were just talking about you and how phenomenal you were with the Columbus Lions as y'all beat Amarillo on the road 47-26. Again, just picking apart any defense, the vision. I really do love watching Marcus Brooks, and his deep ball is a thing of beauty. Cannot wait to call the first home game April the 12th. Marcus Brooks and the Columbus Lions. Damian Nighthawk 1-0 this season. All right, moving on. Northside comes in at number 8. They beat Harris County 2 or 3 times.
Right.
Both times at home, and then they got beat at Harris County last week. It's between them and Harris County who could win that region. I know we talked about this off air. McIntosh went all the way to the state championship last year. They're probably the favorite right now, but Harris County and Northside, even with losing records, because of how small the region, and there's only 5 teams. Drew is just absolutely atrocious. So they're going to make the playoffs. Now it's about seeding. Why can't they be a 2 or 3? Northgate, Northside, and Harris County, they're all going to vie for 2, 3, and 4. So Northside coming in at number 8. We don't have Harris County in here yet, but Harris County just took Columbus out of the woodshed and win that 10-0. And as they get better, they're now 4-10 on the season. I'm willing to start moving them up.
Absolutely.
Not yet.
Absolutely.
Not yet.
Yeah.
And I think they played Shaw, or they played Shaw already.
They did play Shaw. I think that we put Shaw in there because I just thought that them beating Hardaway 20-1 really caught my eye, because I thought that Hardaway had a pretty good record. They were coming into that game 4-6-1.
Yeah. All right. Northside coming at number 8. What you think on Coach Sparks?
I think what Coach Sparks is doing, Northside, remember, they went to the second round of the playoffs last year. This is a very good team. Remember, they won the state championship in 2019. Coach Sparks has got a lot of good players. We know that they come from Northern Little League, and we know the success that Northern has had in District 8. And I think that Northside is just continuing to progress and get better. We know that, right now, yesterday they lost to Northgate. They'll get to play Northgate a couple more times, and maybe they can get some wins and try to get some traction in this region.
Yeah, and by the way, a lot of these teams have only played, I know Columbus has played 18, Central's played 19, but a lot of these teams play between 30, 35 games, at least over 25. I think closer to 30, 35. Looking at Columbus, they still got several region games. Basically what I'm saying is we're about we're at the halfway point. So got 2 more weeks of March baseball, whole month of April, and then we start playoffs around May, about end of April, first week of May. So we still got 5 more weeks of baseball. Looking forward to, or 6 weeks, if you will, regular season before we head into the playoffs. Number 7 is the Columbus Blue Devils, who I thought took Central down to the wire and played really well last week. We were there for that. They played Brookstone in a 2-0 game. They've had an incredibly tough schedule. They did lose to Smith Station, who's come on strong. They're 8-10. But I promise you, they got a losing record now. By the end of the season, they'll be 10 games over 500 or close to it. They'll be one of the top teams, if not the top team in their region, and they'll be playing and hosting playoff games.
One of their best players, and I want to give him a shout-out on the show, Michael Nodelman pitched a phenomenal game. 7 innings of work, gave up the 2 runs to Brookstone, and you got Jack Peak, you have Colin Cates, you have RJ Griffin. I mean, Columbus has got some players. Coach Chad Mathis has got a good team. They're 2-0 in their region. They swept the series with Carver. They play Doherty coming up this weekend. We know how good Thomasville is. Right now, Thomasville's 2-0. Crisp County's 2-0. I think Columbus is going to pick up where they left off going to the Elite Eight last year.
Top 6, number 6, Smith Station. They were 4-6 last time we did our ratings. Now they're 8-6. They won their last 4. They've beaten some really good teams. They take on Harris County tonight. We don't know what the score of that is yet.
Yeah, trying to get a score update.
But you know how Max Praps is.
Yeah.
But Smith Station, 8-6. Remember last year made it to the Final Four. The problem is either them, Auburn, or Central. Central's not getting left out, so it's going to be between them and Auburn.
It is. And
Problem is,
Opelika's 10-4, by the way.
Opelika's really good. Auburn. This is one of their best baseball teams they've had in the last several seasons. Smith Station may be looking out, and Opelika, because only 2 teams out of this region make it, and there's so many good teams. I think all 4 should be in the playoffs. So Smith Station is going to have an excellent season, but because of the region they play in, they may even make the playoffs, Richard.
That is just crazy to hear, but it's because Opelika's better. We know that Auburn, they missed out on the playoffs last year. I mean, these region games are going to be so important in April.
Was that it?
Yeah.
It's like you're
yeah, I took a breath. No,
it's like you started rebooting right there, Richard. I thought you were gonna keep talking. All right, moving on into the top 5. How about the team that got off to a really hot start? I know they got embarrassed at home last week. We were there for that, Richard, when they took on I think a really good, probably the best GIAA team in Brookstone. They lost 21-3. And then they played Brookstone again at Brookstone, lost 7-0, and they came back to Pacelli and won that 6-1. Then they beat Westfield, a team that is a really good baseball team this year, or last year made it to the playoffs. This year's struggling, but last year was one of the top 5 teams in the state. They won that. They go to 9-4. They play 2 doubleheader coming up tomorrow, and then next week, I think that's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
At Calvary Christian. You know we're going to be there for that one, Richard.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! That's going to be a good one. Calvary and Pacelli. Calvary wants his get back because Calvary's only loss this season was to Pacelli. At Pacelli, in which they lost that one 14-6. But Coach Bowers and Coach Thomas's team, 9-4, way better than last year. Omar Kimbrough's batting .419. Walker Hilton, he's batting .372. Both those guys are the catalysts for this team. And then the pitching's been phenomenal, including Walter Hilton on the mound as well. Pacelli, 9-4. I think this team has semifinals or state championship written all over it with Coach Thomas. And you knew by year 2 he was going to be going for a championship.
You got to remember, when we called that 21-3 loss to Brookstone, it was 4-3 going into the 6th inning. It was a very close contested game, and then Brookstone just opened up the floodgates. Pacelli was able to get Game 3 on Saturday. They did take 1 out of 3 against Brookstone. But, I mean, Pacelli right now is 2-2 in their region. I think when it's all said and done, when you're talking about the GIAA playoffs, I think Brookstone and Pacelli are going to be the 2 top teams. And hopefully, if they do face each other.
Can we get a Brookstone Pacelli? We've had it, Brookstone Pacelli
quarterfinals
in football. We've had it in Elite 8 in basketball. Can we get a Brookstone Pacelli state championship or semifinals in baseball like we did for Central and Smith Station last year?
We'd love to see it.
We'd love to see it as well, but they're doing a phenomenal job. They got Westfield doubleheader tomorrow, so I think they're going to be 11-4 going into next week taking on Calvary. That's going to be a big-time matchup. Number 4, the Glenwood Gators. Last year's team went 45-4. Expectations obviously are always going to be high for Coach Fanning. He's got 9 state championships. They have 23 as a school, And this year being the last year in the AISA, I know Coach Fanning wants to go out with a bang,
Right.
winning a state championship. They are 8-6 on the season. They take on Abbeville tomorrow. And then they got some good games with Deerfield, Windsor, Coosa Valley, and Southern Prep coming up. Because next week is – they don't have any games next week because next week is
Spring break.
spring break. So no games, and then they'll follow that with games afterwards. They beat North Bay Haven, and they've beaten Lakeside School several times. Of course, they've beaten Brookstone, lost to Brookstone, beat Pacelli, lost to Heritage, and lost to First Presbyterian Day, who's the number 1 team in the GIAA at 11-2 this year.
And they took 2 out of 3 against Lee Scott
And
Academy.
that's why they're 8-6. I know Max Prep says 6-5.
Yeah, Max Preps does not have Lee Scott Academy on
No,
this
and
game.
so that's why if you look in their region right now, Richard, Springwood's 3-0. That's because they haven't played Glenwood. They're 3-7, and they got 3 games. They're not 3-0 in the region. They're 3-7 overall. Glenwood's gonna, I think, is still the favorite in the AISA.
No, absolutely.
Tyler Sykes, he's a phenomenal player that's done a great job. You know, last year we remember him. How about Mason McCrane, replacing Jacob Page and Milam. That's a tough task, but they got some guys within their system they believe in. Young guys that are struggling here early will come on strong and late. That's what normally happens with a team that rebuilds, not reloads, like Glenwood, and they come in as the number 4 team. They do have to go down because our number 3 team, Richard, I'll let you do the honors, 14-3, and they have. If it wasn't for Calvary and Central, they should be the talk of the town. They've dominated everybody. They beat Columbus High. They got great pitching. They got 3 guys that are going to D1 level. They got guys that 5-tool players that can play anywhere on the field. Coach Greg Mathis, formerly assistant. I got to say it again. So many assistants under Bobby Howard. Greg taking over Brookstone last year, making it to the second round. And this year, losing the first round. And this year, having a team that maybe could win it all, Richard. 14-3.
Look, this team, if you look up and down their lineup, they've got a ton of players that can make all region, even all state. Let's start with Taft Middleton. Not only is he leading the team with a .511 batting average, he's also their top starting pitcher. Their number 2 pitcher, not too bad, the junior, Chonwoo Kim, who had a shutout 7-0 win over Pacelli. We saw him in the Border Wars as they beat Macon East. I have called 4 games so far for Brookstone. They have looked fantastic every time that we call a game. They beat Columbus 2-0. Taft Middleton pitched that game. Cole Stanzel, he's a good relief pitcher. He's got a .489 batting average. How about Madden Dismuke? 7 RBIs. He was a double away from hitting for the cycle against that 21-3 win over Pacelli. And Brookstone just defeated St. Mary's Academy today, 20-2. And if you look at the schedule for Brookstone, they are going to play Shaw on the 23rd this Saturday. They are going to play Calvary Christian on April the 23rd at Calvary.
And the reason they're number 3 is because of the 2 teams that are ahead of them. Calvary Christian coming in at 10-1 on the season. Bailey Thorne, the all-world player, the senior, already has 16 hits, 19 RBIs, 6 home runs in 11 games played.
Incredible.
He's on pace to have over 20 home runs this year. The guy is just an incredible player. We also, Cam Houston. Shout out to Amy Houston, friend of mine. Cam Houston, the shortstop, is batting .471 this year as well. How about that? Coming in as the starting shortstop. He has 1 home run. He is got 16 tied for the team lead in hits. He's been phenomenal. Strickland, Barbary, Charles, Irving, they got guys that can just light it up. And then not only that, Richard, it's their pitching, too, that has been absolutely great. Ward, Thorne, Barbary. Ward's the only one that's got a loss. Everyone else is undefeated. Team ERA is at 2.2.
Wow.
Calvary Christian ranked number 9 in the entire state of Georgia, 10-1. Steve Smith as the best program in the Columbus side of the Tri-City area. What you got to say about them, Richard?
Calvary Christian has just not only been dominant. Coach Smith, he stacks the schedule. They're playing GHSA teams like LaGrange and Troup County. They're going to play in a tournament during spring break, taking on IMG Academy that has one of the top baseball players in the country that's projected to be a first rounder in the Major League Baseball draft. And I think that he has taken a playbook from Coach Black at Pacelli, just scheduling tough opponents to get them ready for the gaps. And they've won 5 straight state championships, trying to get their 6th in the final year of the GIAA. And Calvary has looked phenomenal. They beat Lafayette Christian over the week. They still got to play LaGrange. We all know how tough LaGrange is, as they went to the state championship the last 2 seasons. And they'll play Glenwood. They'll play Northside.
Troup County. Brookstone. I mean, we got Brookstone. We're going to be doing that game. We got Pacelli. They got to play Glenwood. So they're going to be playing all the private schools. So they're going to literally say we were the best. They played Northside. They didn't play Columbus. They beat Carver. So other than not playing Central, they basically played all the top teams around this area. They beat LaGrange and Troup County. They have the mantle from Harris County down, or even going up to Troup County down. They are the best team in this southeast region of the state of Georgia. But the number 1 team is, of course, the Central Red Devils. 18-1, Richard. And Coach Keogh's team, it is pretty phenomenal what they have built, what he has built over there. And to now, winning a state championship 2 years ago, making it last year. Everyone knew Central's had a great baseball program under Ron Nelson. He won a state championship, so the history's there. But now we're not talking about just winning. He's trying to put that up there with all-time great teams, like Glenwood last year that was ranked nationally. Right. How about Russell County teams under Coach Tony Rasmus, the Bobby Howard teams under Columbus with Kyle Carter and J.T. Phillips, and now I'm drawing a blank. Jordan Weems,
Josh Lester,
Cody Walker. He's starting to get in that category. How about the Columbus High teams that had Bubba Holland and Frank Thomas back in the 80s and early 90s when he won state championships 4 years in a row? You're going to start seeing him put in that category as a nationally prominent team. Auburn is 8-8, and they've also played. I would say this. It seems like we say this about everyone. They played a tough schedule. I feel like Auburn's going to be left out before Smith Station, Opelika. I feel like that second spot's between both of them. But 19-1 now, actually, Richard, as they won yesterday.
They were in the Gulf Coast Classic, and they got actually 3 wins in the Gulf Coast Classic.
Their only loss is to Mill Creek, who lost to Buford 3-0, and which is surprising. Mill Creek's 8-6. It was just an off day, and they lost 3-2. Other than that, they have beaten everybody. They have beaten teams outside of the state of Georgia and the state of Alabama. Columbus High was a close one. They ended up winning that 8-5. They were actually losing that 4-0 to start that game. But I'm looking at this schedule. They continue the stretch they're on. You're putting Coach Keogh's Central 2024 team as one of the greatest in our area of all time, especially if they bring home that state championship ring. They come in as a top, I think now like 7 in the country. That's it. That's incredible, Richard. It really is.
Well, when Coach Kehoe has players that are going to play at the next level, like first baseman Landon Beaver.
Number 7 in the country, nationally ranked. Number 7. The problem is they play in the same classification as Bob Jones, who is also 7A, who is also ranked number 8 in the nation. So how about that? And Calvary plays the number 9 team, IMG. So if Calvary beats IMG, you could see Calvary and Central both in the top 10. There's our top 10 rankings. If you don't mind bringing us back on stream, Chris. So thank you. Ratings. And if you have a problem with it, remember to email Holdridge right here. He's the one you blame. Go to his house. Do all the pitchforks and all the you want to burn his house down. Go after him. Don't go after me. But we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we are going to have our sit-down interview with Coach Corey Black on why he is moving on from here as the AD and head basketball coach after 8 really good.
Yeah.
Hey folks, Thrift Behringer here from Georgia, Alabama Sports Live. And I want you to join us this Saturday, March 23rd at 12 p.m. to watch us do our show live from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll be talking everything from our top 10 high school baseball teams in our region, our picks for March Madness, our expectations for the upcoming MLB season, and so much more. If you want to know the latest on what's happening around you, then make sure you watch us live this Saturday from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll see you all then.
Truck season at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado LTZ, discounted up to $11,000 off, or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV, the Chevy Traverse, discounted up to $7,750 off, and the perfect size Chevy Equinox up to $7,750 off. No payments until summertime. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Hey folks, Thrift Behringer here from Georgia, Alabama Sports Live. And I want you to join us this Saturday, March 23rd at 12 p.m. to watch us do our show live from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll be talking everything from our top 10 high school baseball teams in our region, our picks for March Madness, our expectations for the upcoming MLB season, and so much more. If you want to know the latest on what's happening around you, then make sure you watch us live this Saturday from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll see you all then. We love being able to go to the different high school, colleges, middle schools to live broadcast sporting events around the area. Georgia Alabama Sports Live appreciates all the fan support, but without a presenting sponsor like Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC in Opelika, none of this would be possible. So we want to say thank you so much. Go to glennsmith.com. That is right, glennsmith.com. See all the inventory and see why people always say, get ready to smile. Thanks, everyone, and thank you to Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC for being our presenting sponsor. Hey folks, Thrift Behringer here from Georgia, Alabama Sports Live. And I want you to join us this Saturday, March 23rd at 12 p.m. to watch us do our show live from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll be talking everything from our top 10 high school baseball teams in our region, our picks for March Madness, our expectations for the upcoming MLB season, and so much more. If you want to know the latest on what's happening around you, then make sure you watch us live this Saturday from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll see you all then. Hey folks, Thrift Behringer here from Georgia, Alabama Sports Live. And I want you to join us this Saturday, March 23rd at 12 p.m. to watch us do our show live from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll be talking everything from our top 10 high school baseball teams in our region, our picks for March Madness, our expectations for the upcoming MLB season, and so much more. If you want to know the latest on what's happening around you, then make sure you watch us live this Saturday from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll see you all then.
It's truck season at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado LTZ, discounted up to $11,000 off, or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV, the Chevy Traverse, discounted up to $7,750 off, and the perfect size Chevy Equinox up to $7,750 off. No payments until summertime. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Good? All right, here we go. Okay. We're both going to do this. Welcome back, everyone, and we are now still at the Beck Center, by the way. Shout out to Roger Beck for allowing us to host our shows here for the last several months, and we're going to continue to do so. But we're in another area of the huge complex here on Pacelli campus, and you're seeing the Vikings behind us. And it's time now to do our exclusive interview with Coach Corey Black. Coach, I guess we'll go ahead and get into it right now. You know, you win a state championship, you feel like you've accomplished what you came here to do, which is have every sport be relevant and competing for championships. You honestly can say that. But after the state championship, what were some of the thoughts that you started having that led up to you making this decision?
Well, you know, after every season, you relax, you release, you take some time to think over the season, and you pray. You thank God about the season you had. No matter if you win it or you don't, you give all glory to God. And, through this process, I prayed about it. And, Pacelli's a grind, man. A little exhausted, tired. And God led me to do something different. And, when God tells you to do something, you better do it. Yeah. Because if you don't, I hate to see what happens. Yeah. So that just led to another opportunity.
And, Coach, we'll talk about that, what that other opportunity is here in just a moment. But I would like to have some time to reflect as Coach Corey Black is moving on and stepping down as the athletic director and head basketball coach of Pacelli, and he's going to move on to Manual Prep to be the Dean of Scholars. We'll talk about that move in just a moment. But let's reflect over these last several years. You got the opportunity, 2016, to be the basketball coach. You were the assistant AD that turned into head AD. In 2018, and I remember that year in 2018 because, that's when me and you started talking about live streaming. I started live streaming your Perfect Practice CB Hoops Fall League. Yep. Was also the year, I think, Deuce Moore and them, they were sophomores, so you knew you had a team, Ian Matthews, that was going to be good for the future. But looking back on the years, I wanted some of your fondest moments, and we'll start with basketball first. Building something that was 0-22 to state champions. What are your thoughts on that, Coach?
Yeah, I would just say, some of the kids that took an opportunity on Pacelli, starting with the kids that was already here, the Joseph Douglas, the Josh Douglas of the worlds. Then you go to kids that gave the program a chance. Ian Matthews, he gave a program that was 0-22. Could have went to any middle school that he wanted to in the city, and he said, man, I'm going to go with Coach Black and give him a chance. And see what happens. Then the next year we got Travis Deuce Harper. Yep. And then the next year you got Keyshawn Fleeson, you got Pierre Summers. Yep. And it just started to roll. So, I reflect back on thanking those kids and families for giving us a chance, to get the basketball part started on it. And, man, people don't understand, like, the 0-22 part. Man, we had some stories, but it made us better. Yeah. It made us hungry, and it made us build it up. Most coaches in this community, in the state, in the country, wants a product that's already done. They want to go get the transfer portal players, bring players with them, try to get a win out of it, try to win a state championship out of it. But I just built it from the ground up, and I like building things. I really do, man. I'm from South Georgia. Yeah. I'm from Tilton, Georgia. Don't even supposed to be here, and God then blessed me to come to Columbus, Georgia, and have some success. But just the building blocks of it, I enjoy building programs. So the basketball program has been great. So to go from 0-22 to 5 wins to 10 wins to 13 wins to 18 wins, get beat in the Elite Eight, all the way to last year. We got beat by 1 point free throw away, 1-1 free throw away. We the state champs. Yeah. But, you could be so close to something and God will just tell you, like, do you want to ride out like that or do you want to keep coming back and keep trying to build? And we come back this year and we had some success from it. So it was a great story to end the basketball, at Columbus State, where I spent a lot of time at. So it was really good for me. It was a great way to end that chapter of your life. I couldn't have wrote this better. No. So it was a great story, and Pacelli means a lot to me. means a lot to my family, but it's been a good ride.
1% Better. That's going to be the name of his biography. I can't wait for it to come out, Coach.
Yeah.
And it's an excellent story. You talked about being one of the youngest assistant coaches in America when you got the opportunity. Herbert Green believed in you. And you already made a name for yourself. DJ Jones talks about it when you got involved with Sam Mitchell basketball camp. You started having the CB exposure camps that I played in, my brother played in, allowed us and other people a chance to go play JUCO, Division I, II, III, doesn't matter, go play college basketball somewhere. So you already made a name for yourself in that way. So that in itself is an excellent story, as you talked about, come from Tifton to putting the name on the map as one of the most recognized names in the sport of basketball in our southeast region, especially junior college. I mean, every junior college coach knows Corey Black and knows I want to get in contact with him. He's got players for me. But to come to Pacelli and do this is a little bit different, Coach. To take over something that, and I'm going to be honest when I say this, I hope I don't ruffle any feathers, but Coach, a lot of people weren't coming to Pacelli.
No.
They, especially for sports.
Yep.
For academics, yes.
Yes, no question.
But and it's always been that way. But for sports, Coach, that was an afterthought. You had way many more options to go to advance your career and to win state championships and come to Pacelli. And now you're leaving it as the premier spot to win a state championship in any sport. Did you think in your wildest dreams that this what it would be after 8 years, or what was the ultimate goal when you took the job to build here?
Just to get better every day, to make the place better than I found it every single day. It was never to come here and win 11 championships. That was never the ultimate goal. I just feel like if you go somewhere and you just build it and you try to make it better every day, all the results will come, and that's what happened at Pacelli.
Yeah, and like you said, 11 state championships, and that's happened in the last 2 seasons, right? Majority of them have happened in the last 2 seasons. It's just been football state championship, 2 flag footballs, basketball, girls and boys, soccer,
2 sports,
wrestling. I knew I was going to leave some out, and a few other ones, swimming. We've had you can see it if you. You don't believe me, just go look on their, what is that, indoor facility? Baseball locker room. Yeah. You'll see the 11 state championships, Coach. And now, as you said, one of the main reasons, is it because you're tired, Coach? Why did you decide this year? Because everyone's asking this question. I'm going to ask you. You're at the top. You build it now. Now why not ride out for a few more years and win a few more state championships, then ride into the sunset? Why did you decide right now when it's at its apex? Yeah. Why did you decide to make?
You know what I mean? I follow God. Yeah. You know what I mean? I go off his calling. And that's what it is. It wasn't me. If it were me, I probably would just sit here, ride it out, win a couple more championships. But you know, when God calls you to do something, you have to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it ain't my time, it's his time. And that's basically what it came down to, man. Yeah, is it exhausting? Is it tiring? Yeah, I can fight through that. Yeah. I can do all that. But at the end of the day, it's God calling, man. You know, I done slept the best I ever slept the last 5 nights.
That's crazy.
And, you know, that's peace. And when you're following God and this stuff, that's how it works.
And the reason you were able to sleep is because you know you're making the right decision. Mm-hmm. It once you decided, and did you know when? Has it happened over the last few weeks? Is it something that has been a build-up, or you kind of just like when they asked Nick Saban when he decided to retire? Was it that day? How was it with you in your process?
Well, you know, it was last year, honestly, what people don't know.
You were exhausted.
Last year when we lost in the state championship, if we would have won, I felt like, you know what, man, this is so much. I would have probably just been the AD this year. Yeah. But we didn't win it. And that was my plan. You know, my plan, people always hear your plan versus God plan. My plan last year was to win the state championship and just be the AD. But God had a different plan for me. God said, no, you're going to come back. We're going to go 3,000 miles. You're going to be able to go win it back at home at Columbus State. Right. And God said, if you trust me and do it this way, not only are you going to win the boys' championship, you're going to win the girls' state championship too. So I'm going to give you a 2-for-1 if you just follow me and go with my plan. And that's what happened. So I knew at the end of that, I said, you know what, this is time. Yeah. It's time, and it's time to move on from it.
Yeah, and you didn't want to be AD this year. You decided just to step down from Both positions,
Yep.
correct. But you said you're still going to be involved and still
Yeah.
you're still a Viking. You bleed red and
Oh,
blue.
man, I love
So
it.
for all those people that are asking, are you done with Pacelli? That question's no way, right?
Not going nowhere. Probably still be sitting out here getting you and Richard Way, trying to get on y'all lives and play-by-play, especially during basketball
No
season.
doubt, Coach.
Pacelli means a lot to me, man. The place has been such a blessing for me, man. The supporters here, it's been crazy, man. My daughter's going to the 9th grade. She's going to be here 4 more years.
Yeah.
I'm here, man. I'll probably be working the concession stand, working the table. I'm going to be an ambassador for this place. This is a big-time school.
Yeah.
Big-time place, man. We done built it up to a high level. And it's a place that people want to come. We're going to get the right people in place to keep it going. And I'm excited about the future of Pacelli.
And you talk about the future, Coach. I know you don't have any information to give us on who potentially could be the AD and the boys basketball coach, but how's that process going? Are you part of a committee? And how can people, if they're interested, how can they contact you about trying to get it?
Yeah, send me an email if you're interested. I say this all the time. You're interested in the job, go apply.
Yeah.
That's the first step. If you can't do the first step, well, you probably ain't going to be the AD or the coach here.
Yeah.
If you can't find it on the internet, well, that's on you.
Right.
But, we getting, it's amazing how many people wants this job.
But they didn't want this job 8 years ago. That's the part that kills me, Coach.
Right, 2 weeks before basketball.
They were trying to give it to someone. They said, Coach, here, take the AD,
Yeah.
and you did a great job with it. Now you got a long list of people that
Yeah,
want to take
it's
over what
crazy.
you built.
It's crazy, and that's a blessing, and that's a great thing for the administration here, and what they then gave us the resources to make it look like this is the Kentucky of high school basketball.
Yeah.
But we getting plenty of good candidates, but we're gonna find the right fit to keep this thing going.
All right, let's talk about the move you're making. You're going to Emmanuel Preparatory School for Science and Math. Talk about that move and why you decided to go and be a part of the Dean of Scholars and what that entails, what your job entails, and why you decided to go there.
Yeah, Dean of Scholars just running the school, the day-to-day, duties of it, oversee the staff, oversee the scholars over there. Why I did it, God calling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm all about helping people.
Especially
kids.
kids.
Kids, impacting lives. I've been middle school, I've been high school here. Now it's time to go to a younger generation of young scholars and see if I can help impact them and push them to be the next high-level person, a high-level lawyer, high-level basketball, whatever they may decide to be. So, I'm excited about it. It's a good move, and that's why I did it. I just another way to. I'm about pushing people to the next level.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna go push some younger generation to the next level.
And you're building something,
Yep.
what you like to do. Just a little
Like
bit
to build.
different in the academics and building a
Exactly.
school.
Exactly.
That's going to be another thing you can put on the
Exactly.
Coach Corey Black resume. Coach, let's talk about some of the players and the admin, people that really invested in your life here at Pacelli that you want to give thanks to, that really made it the way it was so you could be successful like you have been these last 8 years.
Yeah, I give thanks to Buster Conley, the former AD here that, reached out to me from the day one. Then he given to Miss Collins, she's the GOAT, greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And no question, ain't nobody is better than Miss Collins. She's
And you all had the same vision, didn't you, Coach?
same vision, and she lets you work. You know what I mean? She lets you do your job. She lets you make the moves you need to make for the place to be successful. Because when I got here, academics was way up here.
Yeah.
Athletics was probably right here.
Right.
We done closed the gap.
Right.
You know what I mean? To try to get us really good education, really good athletics.
Yep.
But that's all credit to her. The administration has been really good. The coaching staff. As an AD, I'm only as good as the coaching staff that I got.
Yep.
Coaches, we've been able to bring in some of the best coaches that I can't imagine. I say it all the time. We have the best coaches here at Pacelli in all sports. They're really good. Our administration has been good. Our donors been good. It's just I just thank them all, man. I've been blessed to be here, man. It's been a really good 2 terms here.
Yeah.
At Pacelli, man. It's an unbelievable place.
You keep talking about the 2 terms. You've been here for 8 years.
Yeah,
I
2
love it.
terms. I
Like
like
you've
2
been in
terms.
politics.
Yeah,
probably.
2 terms better than 8 years.
Hey, listen, when you're a mayor, Skip Henderson, or you're a president, that's all you get, Coach.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's talk about, I do want to mention the guy that we're in here right now in the Beck Center, Roger
Yeah.
Beck. What has he meant to you?
Oh,
and
man.
what does he mean to the Pacelli family? Because since he's been there, you've sent a $10 million football facility in Grand. I'm not saying he's the only one, but
Yeah.
since he's been there, he's helped get the Diamond Field. He's helped build the Beck Center. I mean, talk about what he's meant to you.
Oh, great guy, man, and very instrumental in some of the stuff we done did here, man. You know, Coach Beck means a lot, man. We're, you know, we came here as co-workers,
Right.
you know, 8 years ago.
Right.
Now we're best friends.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the thing about it, we have a lifelong relationship now.
Yeah.
We talk every day, even since I gave it up. We talked right before this show. I just talked to him before this show, and we
Right.
talk all the time. We're best friends now. You know what I mean? One of my closest friends ever. He's a successful business guy at the end of the day, and I'm always learning from people. He's one of the people that I learn from, man, and forever indebted to him, man. He's a really good guy, and he means a lot to our school. Our kids love him. Our staff love him. You know, he's just an unbelievable guy.
He is, and we appreciate his support of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. He's literally been one of the few guys that have supported us every single season that we do it. Thank you so much, Roger Beck. And Coach, hopefully at the Land, which is the name of the gymnasium that they'll be playing on the Corey Black court, which they should be. Coach, I'm not gonna lie to you. I see a lot of names on courts around here for coaches that never won a state championship and then build near what you built. So I'm hoping that is exactly what's going to happen. Now, I got to ask the question for we in this interview. Is there any way that Itch is going to come back? Any chance? Are we saying never for coaching again, or we're never going to say never in that aspect?
No, you know, Thrift, I'm always going to be around this game, man. You know, Sam Mark Camp, we still got that going. I do some
CB Hoops.
CB Hoops. I'm always going to be around the gym. I can't say that. This could just be a timeout. This may just be a full timeout for a minute, but, you know, timeouts don't last forever.
No, they do not.
So you never know.
Yeah, like I could
never
see
know.
Coach, maybe even at the college level. Who knows? Future is bright for Coach Corey Black. And, Coach, I just want to say thank you personally for believing in me. I remember, and I say this story all the time, 2017, contacted you. And that's after already knowing you and you helped me get to college. I was like, hey, Coach, I want to do an interview on you because I'm like, you helped me, my brother. I'm thinking about all the guys, all my friends that went to play the next level that you really helped push and taught the coaches for us. Did a sit-down interview, and the rest has been history, man. From doing Facebook Lives off my iPad of the Fall League back in 2018 to last year asking, can I be the play-by-play guy? I asked Coach. I begged him. I was like, Coach, you need a play-by-play for basketball. You know I'm your guy. And then you really pushed me. It's like, Coach, you made some noise. Take it to the next level and help push me to do Georgia Alabama Sports Live. So, Coach, thank you so much for believing in me.
You're welcome, man. And that's all I want to do right now is push people to their dreams, push them to the next level, make kids better, make kids push them to the next level, make people dreams come true, make people visions come to life. That's all I want to do now. That's all I ever did. I thank you for pushing my dream, pushing my vision, putting Pacelli on the map. You know, I hope I made everybody in this city better. That's the only reason I came back to coaching in this city was to push other people. Yeah. And I think I did. I think I pushed the whole city. I think I woke people up. I think I made them better. I think they didn't get comfortable. I made them uncomfortable, and hopefully we can keep it going. Now, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to mentor everybody. I'm going to mentor coaches. Whatever I can. I'm an open book. I'm here, man. And I thank you for putting the vision out there and making it live. You, Richard, Chris, Hogarth, all y'all, man. Y'all was unbelievable, man. Y'all treated me so good. I really appreciate y'all, man.
Coach, unbelievable ride last year doing all the games. I think it was 25 games. Didn't get to do the Final Four and state championship. This year, being able to call the state championship game, Coach, I went back and watched it already 3 times now on GIAA.TV. The vault's on there. I had to watch it, Coach. It was pretty incredible to be able to be there for you and Brian. So thank you so much. Glad that I was there on that final ride these last couple of seasons, and we just keep pushing people. As you talked about, now it's elevated basketball around this area to it was getting dire situations 8-9 years ago, Coach. So now hopefully being a mecca like football is, in which college coaches are coming down here all the time, seeing all the top talent around here. We had several state championship teams, girls and boys, teams that make deep runs. Sports is at an all-time high in this area in high school, and I think that's a lot credit to you and what you believed in here at Pacelli. Well, Coach, thank you so much for sitting down with us. It's not going to be the only time we have you on. You know, every time I do a Sports Vision show or I do a Georgia Alabama Sports Live show, I'm going to have Coach Corey Black, and next year you may be as an analyst now, not as a coach, as an analyst. I'm going to be asking you questions about who you think the best is. Ruffle some feathers out there, Coach. Today's broadcast is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC and Opelika. Go to glennsmith.com for more information. Get ready to smile. Hey folks, Thrift Behringer here from Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And I want you to join us this Saturday, March 23rd at 12 p.m. to watch us do our show live from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll be talking everything from our top 10 high school baseball teams in our region, our picks for March Madness, our expectations for the upcoming MLB season, and so much more. If you want to know the latest on what's happening around you, then make sure you watch us live this Saturday from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll see you all then. We love being able to go to the different high school, colleges, middle schools to live broadcast sporting events around the area. Georgia Alabama Sports Live appreciates all the fan support, but without a presenting sponsor like Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC in Opelika, none of this would be possible. So we want to say thank you so much. Go to glennsmith.com. That is right, glennsmith.com. See all the inventory and see why people always say, get ready to smile. Thanks, everyone, and thank you to Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC for being our presenting sponsor.
It's truck season at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado LTZ, discounted up to $11,000 off, or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV, the Chevy Traverse, discounted up to $7,750 off, and the perfect size Chevy Equinox up to $7,750 off. No payments until summertime. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
as this has been a long but very much needed and good show, as now we are going to hit our college basketball preview. As I don't even count the first round. I consider this Thursday and Friday the first round. The first four, I don't consider any of that part of the NCAA tournament. So I don't even care about predicting it, nor do I want to talk about it. And then if you're Virginia and Tony Bennett, he says he's got to change his system.
It's not working.
I didn't watch it because I didn't want my eyes to bleed, and I'm never going to watch it. This is Colorado State just put them in. Virginia shouldn't even been in conversation. 42 points. They went in 10 minutes without even scoring. I'll talk about it, Richard. That's all we're going to say. All right. We talked on Monday, me and you, Richard, about the different quadrants. We were talking about preview, giving our rants on why teams should have been this and that. We're actually going to talk about the actual bracket today. So, it's our top five. What is our top five? Richard, we'll start with our top 5 teams that could win it all. You can go first. Richard, who is your 5 teams?
My 5 teams are North Carolina, Houston, Auburn, Illinois, and the defending champions, UConn Huskies. Notice that 3 of these teams are in the same quadrant. They're in the East bracket. I mean, that East bracket is absolutely crazy because not only do you have 3 teams in that bracket that were in the Final Four last year, you have a team like Auburn that was underseeded having to probably face UConn in the Sweet 16. Illinois won the Big Ten. Iowa State won the Big 12. I mean, that is a crazy bracket.
Yeah, so your top 5, you had Houston, North Carolina, Auburn, Illinois, and UConn. Those are the 5 teams that you think can win a national championship. Problem is, 3 of the teams in your 5 play in the same bracket. So you didn't even mention two other brackets. You talked about North Carolina there in the West. Excuse me. I'm choking. And then you talked about Houston. They're in the South. And then you mentioned Auburn, UConn, Illinois. You didn't mention anybody from the Midwest. So I don't think you think Purdue, Tennessee, any of them. No. We're talking about winning it all. Okay, winning it all. And again, if you missed our interview with Corey Black, make sure to go back and you can watch on YouTube and on Facebook. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Please be that 1,000th one and go subscribe right now. All right, my top 5 teams that could win it all. Of course, UConn, they're the number 1 team. They're 31-3. They're defending champions. They're the deepest, one of the deepest teams in the country. And Coach Danny Hurley's got an excellent program built over there at UConn. Reminds me of the old Jim Calhoun days. And trying to be the first back-to-back national champion since Florida. And the first one since Florida was Duke. So Duke and Florida, the last 2 teams to win back-to-back national championships in the last 40 years. Okay, it's been a long time. Okay, it doesn't happen very, very rarely. Does it happen? As I'm going to exit out of that so no one sees that. All right, Auburn. They come in as one of the hottest teams as they won the SEC tournament. They are the deepest team in the SEC and one of the deepest teams in the country. I think maybe the deepest. They play 10 guys, 9 or 10, that all can score, all can contribute in some big way, whether it be Dylan Cardwell coming off the bench, K.D. Johnson to be in the J.R. Smith and the spark plug, Jad Paker-Mazzara, who was an elite defender, who has got a lethal 15-foot jump shot. Holloway and Donaldson are point guards that are hitting shots. This reminds me a lot of that 2019 team that made it to the Final Four. Auburn could win it all. This is Bruce Pearl's one of his best opportunities to win a national championship. I think this team is better than that team that was the number 2 seed back in 2021. It had Jabari Smith. I think this team's deeper, better, and more athletic. Tennessee, Dalton Knecht. That's all I have to say. Tennessee's known for its defense. Last year, remember, they smuggled and just suffocated Duke and beat them. Made it to the Sweet 16, lost to FAU. I thought they were the favorite to win that bracket. Didn't even make it out of it. Lost to FAU. But now they got scoring. That was their problem last year. They could rely on their defense, couldn't score. This year, now they have the defense and they can score. Sakai Ziegler, Defensive Player of the Year in the SEC. Dalton Knecht, the Player of the Year. Tennessee comes in as number 3. They're a 2 seed. They can win all. They're in that Midwest bracket. Arizona, Caleb Love. Remember that name because we could potentially see a Caleb Love, former North Carolina player that hit the big shot against Duke that ended Coach K's career back in 2022. Caleb Love now plays for Arizona. He could be playing against his former team in the Elite Eight. I don't have that, but that could be happening. Arizona, Obviously, a team in the last 2 seasons as a number 1 and number 2 seed, favorites to make it under Coach Lloyd. The last 2 seasons, lost last year to a Princeton 15 seed. I think this year is going to be the team that makes it to a Final Four. And then Illinois, Terrence Shannon. Not going to talk about his legal issues, but the guy can flat out play. Put up over 30 points a game in the Big Ten Conference. I think Illinois and Brad Underwood, this team could win it all. Those are my 5 teams. Toughest quadrant, Richard, is obviously the East, as you talked about. There's 4 conference tournament champions of the Power 5. 4 of the 5, well, I guess UConn's not in the Power 5, so excuse me. 3 of the Power 5 are in this one. SEC Auburn, Big Ten Illinois, Big 12 Iowa State. The 2 best conferences this year, according to Jerry Palm, Joe Lunardi, or anyone else, the SEC and the Big 12. And both their conference champions are in the same bracket. How does that make sense? That bracket has the best team in UConn. Again, I'm not going to get started on the seeding, but there is no question. I know Jay Williams is trying to make it for the South because it's got Kentucky, Duke, Wisconsin, Nebraska A&M, Houston, Marquette, a good Florida team. That's a tough one, but it's not even close to what they have over in the East. The East is top-heavy. They're top 4 seeds, and that's where it matters the most. That's why I think as the East is the toughest quadrant. Do you agree, Richard?
I absolutely agree that the East is the toughest quadrant. Even when you have like a team like Florida Atlantic that was in the Final Four and they're an 8 seed. UAB, which I got beat in San Diego State. They won the American Athletic Conference. They're a 12 seed. San Diego State went to the championship, lost to UConn. The Dukes from Duquesne making it to the tournament for the first time since 1977. BYU. I mean, you got some teams that you don't want to sleep on. You don't want to sleep on Drake.
I was about to say, you better mention Drake.
Do you love the
Washington
Drake?
State, Morehead State, known for having some upsets. I remember when Terrence Hill, formerly of the Jordan Red Jackets, when they won a state championship in 2007, played and hit the game-winning shot against Louisville to make it and upset Louisville when they were 13 seed. Louisville was a 4 back in 2011. All right, best players heading into the tournament. Richard, I'll go first. Jalen Williams from Auburn. I know everybody's going to say Jedi Broome, and Broome has been sensational. He's 3rd team All-American. He's 1st team All-SEC, but they go as far as Jalen Williams goes. He's a 5th-year senior, the winningest player in Auburn basketball history. Only 1 year did he not make it to the NCAA tournament because I think in 2019-2020, Auburn was a top 15 team in the country. They were number 2 in the SEC, and they were 25-6. If the pandemic didn't happen, they're making the tournament that year. So that means 4 of his 5 years, he had a team that was either one top 10 in the country or made it to the NCAA tournament. He, when playing and clicking on all cylinders, he's the X factor. Because if you double team Broome, good luck stopping Jalen Williams for your 3rd option. That's why I have him as one of the best players. I got a twofer for Kentucky. Rob Dillingham and Reed Sheppard. Dillingham, one of the most exciting, explosive, quick, nasty players we have in the NCAA. He's going to be putting on a show. And then we got Reed Sheppard, guy that can facilitate, kick it to all the playmakers, and Antonio Reeves. I think both of those guys, if they get hot, could lead to a Kentucky Final Four appearance. Kyle Filipowski from Duke. If Duke is going to go back to being relevant in the 2nd weekend of the NCAA tournament, Filipowski's got to be legit. He has been. He was an All-American player, All-ACC player, but he better be good. And most people don't think Duke are going to make it out of the 1st round. They have that as one of the big upsets, Vermont beating them. Terrence Shannon, been one of the best players in the country, over 21 points a game. Illinois is an elite team, and I think Brad Underwood, this is one of his best teams. Even though they were number 1 seed a few years ago, they didn't have someone like Terrence Shannon who literally can take over and be the best player on the court against anybody. Doesn't matter who. And last, Donovan Clingan, the 7'2" big man for UConn. He dominates. He protects the rim. He's putting up 12 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 blocks. The guy reminds me of Rocco Kessler on top of the great guard play. That's why UConn is going in as a favorite. Those are my 5 players. Who are yours, Richard?
My 5, well, you got to start with Zach Edey, averaging 24 points a game. Purdue, once again, a number 1 seed. They lost to a 16 seed last year. And Purdue, in the last 3 tournaments, have lost to double-digit seeds, including St. Peter's and Ohio. But I think Purdue is going to at least get to the Elite 8. And Coach Matt Painter has not had a Purdue team that has gone to the Final Four. They haven't gone to the Final Four in over 40 years. I think Zach Edey's going to have a good tournament, but it's a team game, and it is a guard league, and the guards have got to get going for Purdue. I also have Johni Broome. I think that Johni Broome is going to be the X factor for Auburn if they're going to get past UConn. In my bracket, I've got them getting at least to the Elite Eight. I think that they have a deep team, and Johni Broome is one of their stars. We got to talk about Caleb Love, the transfer from North Carolina. I've got Arizona. They are a number 2 seed. Last year they lost to Princeton. But this year, I think that they're going to have a good tournament. Caleb Love could face his former team in the Elite Eight. I mean, that's going to be a matchup I think everybody wants to see. And then I've got a sleeper player that might have a very good tournament. Jalen House from New Mexico. New Mexico is an 11 seed. I've got them beating Clemson. A lot of experts think that they are going to get by Baylor, and they might be one of the favorites that's a double-digit seed to make it to the Sweet 16.
We saw a bunch of them last year. And
Absolutely.
they come out of the Mountain West. It's got 6 people. Remember, Mountain West had a team in the national championship last year in San Diego State. So
Exactly.
I think that's a good pick in Jalen House. And like you said, that's a son of Eddie House, who I could not stand watching, and one of the players I hated. Could fill it up. Great player. Not
Right.
great player, but good player. Played a lot of years in the NBA, but not one of my favorites. All right, our Final Four picks. Richard, who you got in your Final Four, and then we'll do National Championship after.
Well, in the first bracket, the Final Four is going to be held on April the 6th. I've got Illinois playing North Carolina, the rematch of the 2005 National Championship.
Which was an excellent national championship.
Absolutely. Like you talked about, Illinois, they are deep. I think that North Carolina, they're motivated. They didn't make the tournament last year. They were preseason number 1. They made it to the championship game 2 years ago. I think that North Carolina's got a chip on their shoulder. And, it starts really with Armando Bacot. I mean, I think that he is going to have a good tournament. And then on the other side of the bracket, I think that what Coach Kelvin Sampson's doing at Houston, I think that was very important. They go from the American Athletic Conference to the Big 12. They were battle-tested. I know that Houston got woken up when they got blown out by Iowa State in the Big 12 tournament. I think that that's going to motivate them. I'm looking at my bracket. I've got them beating Duke in the Sweet 16. I got them beating Kentucky in the Elite Eight. I think Houston gets back to the Final Four, where I kind of had a little fun with this. This means that Texas, a team that went to the Elite Eight last year, lost to Miami. They're a number 7 seed. I mean, they obviously play in a tough conference, and they're a 7 seed. I think that Texas, I got them beating Tennessee.
So you got them making the Final Four for the first time since 2003.
Since 2003 with TJ
beating
Ford.
Rick Barnes, who was a coach for that team. And save your national championship. My Final
Why
Four.
not?
Auburn, I think one of the best teams. I think they're going to come out of that region. Arizona, Caleb Love, I think they come out of the West. And that means they'll be basically playing a home in Phoenix for the Final Four.
Yeah.
Kentucky, 2 SEC schools. Kentucky, with Reed, Shepard, Rob Dillingham, as you talked about. And they've had some disappointments the last 2 seasons and not making it to the Sweet 16, losing in the first round as a 2 seed 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Embarrassing. And Purdue, I know I said it. I don't believe in them until they get in the NCAA tournament, but I've always been a big fan of Matt Payne. I've always been a fan of Purdue. I'm going to pick them. I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to say finally they get over the hump, and they're going to beat Tennessee in the Elite Eight. So I almost had 3 SEC schools. I really think that highly of the SEC this year, not trying to be a homer. My national championship is going to be between it was hard. I tried not to be a homer in this, but I really think Auburn could win a national championship this year. So I'm going to put Auburn in the national championship, taking on Zach Edey and Purdue, and Auburn winning the national championship. No, excuse me, I did not have Purdue in it. I had Kentucky. I have an Auburn-Kentucky national championship, all SEC, rematch of the Elite Eight in 2019, Auburn winning it all. What do you got, Richard? And again, these are predictions that no one knows.
Yeah.
I am not telling you I have the insight better than you. It is all for fun. Most of the time, people that have the best bracket don't even keep up with college basketball. So I'm going to go with my heart. instead of with my head because I don't care about being right and winning a bracket challenge. What about you, Richard? Who's your national?
Thrift, we've been watching college basketball since November. I almost guarantee you that there's a possibility my bracket could get busted after the first day. But with that being said, I kind of had a little fun with this. I think the national championship is going to be a flashback to the 1980s with Dean Smith, the North Carolina Tar Heels, Michael Jordan, Sam Perkins, taking on Phi Slamma Jamma. We never saw that national championship, but that would have been awesome. North Carolina taking on Houston.
How about that? And who's your winning your national title?
I got North Carolina winning it because
Hubert Davis cutting down the nets.
They have won 3 national championships in the 2000s. I think that
under Roy Williams, though.
Under Roy Williams.
They've been to 4 when they won one with
Hubert Davis
2 years ago.
Got them to the national championship 2 years ago. I think that North Carolina gets it done, and they have the championship pedigree. I think that Hubert Davis, he cuts down the nets. The North Carolina Tar Heels wins their 4th national championship in the 2000s.
Well, we want to say thank you so much for everybody tuning in. Thank you to Corey Black for doing the exclusive interview with us. Enjoy the college basketball. It's my favorite time of year these next couple days, especially Thursday and Friday when it's 4 games going on all at once for literally 12 hours straight. You couldn't ask for anything more from a sports fan like myself. From Thrift Behringer, Richard Holdridge saying thank y'all so much. We'll see you Saturday for our live show with Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Tomorrow, Richard will be going live probably for Hardaway and Shaw. We'll keep you posted on that. By the way, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention. Congratulations to Brandon Jenkins on getting the head coaching job at Harris County. Rick Beach will be doing an exclusive interview with him. We'll be dropping that next week, so make sure to tune in for that. He has taken over as a 3-time state champion and been to multiple state championships, 6 finals. He is going to take over the Harris County program where he's has family members. He lives there. His children go to school there. And Sydney Spray Carasori, married to Jonathan Carasori of the FCA, is great, phenomenal player at Missouri, great player at Columbus High, and been an assistant under Coach Jenkins the last several seasons. Will now be the head person at Northside. And Abby Lovell's coming back, by the way, from Northside. So they're going to be loaded next year, and that rivalry is going to be good. Jenkins versus Carasori. Can't wait to be able to do that. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to Charlie Marquand, is now the head girls basketball coach at the Shaw Lady Raiders. It takes over for Alicia Brown. Charlie Marquand is now the head coach for the Shaw Lady Raiders. Thank y'all so much. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you Saturday at 12 o'clock for the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Good night, everybody. Hey, folks. Thrift Behringer here from Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And I want you to join us this Saturday, March 23rd at 12 p.m. to watch us do our show live from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll be talking everything from our top 10 high school baseball teams in our region, our picks for March Madness, our expectations for the upcoming MLB season, and so much more. If you want to know the latest on what's happening around you, then make sure you watch us live this Saturday from Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. We'll see you all then.